Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I'm your host, Glenn Poole Harding, and tonight we have a very special guest. That's right, my best friend and business partner, and Xaverian's Standout and City Champ from 1985 and 1986, and now the Deputy Director of Special Events at Prospect Park, my brother, Larry Timberlake, but the world knows him as Stim. Let's get it.
Y'all ready?
Ready?
Yes. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. 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 Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. 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 East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
What's going on, brother?
Everything great? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Everything great.
Everything great. What kind of hat you got on, man? What's that?
That's my man Born Official.
That's a Salute Born Official.
Yeah, Salute Born Official is a 3M. It say Legend. You know what I mean? Ironically, it say Legend.
That's right. And you are definitely a Flatbush legend, for sure.
Good looking, man.
Indeed.
What's the word?
Listen, man, it's been a long time coming. You know, I gotta treat you like I treat everybody else. You know, and the first question is always, who introduced you to the game?
Hold on. Before you get started, I would be remiss if I didn't interrupt you in the middle of your verse, dog, and drop some ad-libs. So first and foremost, I want to say, salute to you, salute to the whole basketball heads, right, for this platform and this forum for New York City basketball legends and the legacy of New York City basketball. You feel me?
Right.
So salute you for everything that you've been doing thus far, during these times and everything, making it real, you know what I mean, sexy for everybody to be on here and all the guests that's been on and everything. I want to salute you and salute them and everybody that's, participating.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
For real.
Appreciate your help, man. Always by my side, no matter what I do. So appreciate you, my brother. What up, Pat? You know what I'm saying? Another one of our guys down with basketball heads.
P-Funk.
Facts. So let's get to that first question, right? Who introduced you to the game?
So my uncles, my mom has 6 brothers. So my uncles actually introduced me to the game. They like 10, 12, 13 years older than me. So like when I'm 4, 5, 6 years old, they, 14, 16. And my uncles played for Flatbush PAL. They played for the PAL in Flatbush. And they were, doing their thing. They went to Walt Whitman Junior High School and was playing. And they used to be playing in Walt Whitman Park playing. So I used to go with them everywhere. Obviously, I'm the nephew. You know what I mean? Right. Like if y'all want to go outside, y'all got to take him with y'all. So, you know what I mean? I was going with them everywhere. And I would go with them to their games at the Flatbush PAL, as well as go with them while they, ran full courts and stuff like that. Played 21 at Walt Whitman Park. And then later on, as they got older, they started playing with my pops. They started playing with Screen. And he had a team from back then, like 16 and under, 17 and under, and they were playing like Nero and things like that. I don't know if you remember that, Wingate Park, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Nero, definitely, classic tournament.
Yeah, so I would, go with them to the games and stuff like that, and just being around it. Like I said, my uncle, 6 uncles, and all of them basically played basketball. You know what I mean? Or played basketball at some time, or their friends in the neighborhood was balling. Walt Whitman Park was like a hub for everybody coming and playing ball. So everybody would be in Walt Whitman, junior high school park playing. And that's where Screen actually used to run his practices for his summer team, because he didn't have a youth organization, but he actually coached in some summer tournaments, and he had a couple of teams, and they played for him.
Wow. And what year like that was that around?
Oh man, 76, 77, 70. Yeah, like my uncle transferred from Erasmus and went to Curtis High School, and he graduated in 77 from Curtis High School. And
Wow.
my youngest uncle just died, who you know, my uncle just got, he graduated from McKee Vocational
Right.
Technical in Staten Island. He graduated in 79. So this was like 76, 75, 76, 77.
Wow. And it's
Yeah,
crazy because your pops is still doing it to this day, still working out kids and still giving back to the community.
yeah, yeah,
That's
definitely,
crazy.
definitely.
So what
So
was
yeah,
the first team you was on?
well, the first team actually that I was on was actually it was a toss up. I played in the winter, my fifth grade year. I played for Holy Innocents. I played on the sixth grade team. I played on Holy Innocents during the winter, and I also played with June Scarborough and Les Pilgrim with the Broncos. But
Right.
in the Broncos intramural league, like I wasn't able to play in citywide that year, so I played in the Broncos intramural league. So I guess it would be like the Boys and Girls Club. You know, I had a
Right.
Flatbush Boys and Girls Club, but I was going all the way to Madison Square Broncos Boys and Girls Club and playing there at the same time while playing Holy Innocents and CYO League on the sixth grade team. And
Wow.
I want to big up Jake Stevens, my man Tyrone Stevens' pops. God rest his soul, Tyrone Stevens. But Jake Stevens, his pops, was the one that encouraged Screen and the coach of the sixth grade team to allow me to play. Because he was like, man, he don't want to play in this intramurals here, and you know, with these guys. You know, he's ready to play. He should be up there playing. And I didn't get a lot of run, but I played on that team, the sixth grade team for Holy Innocents. So those are the first
Wow.
two teams that I actually played for, the Broncos and Holy
Okay.
Innocents at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Your brother Art said Larry broke ankles for real.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's my guy. So, oh man, so Art should be real proud because actually myself and Art we were on that same team. Not when I was in fifth grade, but the following year. Now when I'm in sixth, when we're both in sixth grade, that's when we met. Me and Art met, and then I actually stayed on the sixth grade team, and that was Screen's first youth team that he coached. Because prior to that,
Wow.
like you said, he was coaching 16 and under, and that was just in summer tournaments. He would have a team, you know, like some junior high schoolers play. But this was his
Right.
first foray into youth organized basketball programming. And that was at Holy Innocents. And Art was on that team. So Art is like one of his first youth that he coached, besides myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
my boy Reggie Bernard as well. He was on that team, even though he was like only in the fourth grade and he was playing with us on the sixth grade team.
Wow. He was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. He got moved up and yeah. So if I had like I watched Art on the show. Art said if we had 30 something points, I would have 20 something and he would have the other couple of points. Well, Reg would have the other couple of points with Art.
Right, right, right.
And Reg was like
Okay.
the fourth grader.
So at that time, who was the best player in the neighborhood?
Um, Straight off the top, for me going when I well in my neighbor, so I moved over into my neighborhood I lived in, you know, as growing up, um, by Caton Park. In that neighborhood growing up, the best player to me was I would have to say my man Darnell Spragan. I would have to say, and you know him, you met him. He came up to the school when we was at FDU and everything.
Right, right,
But
right.
for me, growing up playing in the park in Caton Park, he was like the best player. His name is Darnell Sprague, and then there was another guy that was in school with me who was probably a year older than me. His name was Darnell as well, and he was pretty good playing ball. Like when I played in the park, that's who I looked up to playing in the park immediately when I went to the park. And then, you know,
Wow.
later on, as I'm going to the park and I'm figuring out who's in the neighborhood, because again, I was going to Ward Whitman Park playing. So now I'm figuring out who's in the neighborhood, then I, you know, got introduced to John Johnson. So for me, the best player coming out of my neighborhood is John Johnson. But
That's
coming out,
crazy.
Coming up.
No, for sure. His name rung a lot of bells back then, and I think if it wasn't for that one incident that he had in college, that weed incident, they blew it up to a big thing, like he was a big ass drug dealer.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And he probably, you know what? It could have been one of those same situations like Jalen Rose and them talk about. They might have just been somewhere playing video games or kicking it with the homies that's from the or whatever.
Yep.
And who knows? You know.
That's crazy.
John Johnson. But it was a lot of good ball players in my neighborhood coming up. You know, on that same Holy Innocence, in that same Holy Innocence program, I had a lot of guys that was on the older team, like my man Tyrone Stevens, God rest his soul, Daryl Flowers, Kenny Henry.
Yo, anybody get in contact with Daryl Flowers, let him know. We need to be on Basketball Head.
So hopefully he'll be contacting me back soon. But definitely Daryl Flowers, you know, and my immediate neighborhood. And then, you know, I mean, it was a nice core group of good ball players in this area.
So, how is it that you have a legendary dad, right? And a legendary brother, right? How tough was that growing up in that situation?
Well, it was real tough. See, the first year that I played, there was no pressure on me because my pops wasn't coaching, right? He was coaching. He coached Paco and them because they were older, right?
Right.
So he coached Paco and them. On that team was crazy. It was Paco, Troy Douglas. Oh man! So it was no pressure for me because he wasn't coaching me, and I was playing with other people. I was playing with June and Les, you know. So it was really no pressure. Then the next year, when we played on Holy Innocence. Now I had to be mindful of all the things I was doing. We was a young team. The majority of the players on my team were just learning how to play ball, just starting to play ball for the first time. And now I already had a little experience by playing the year before organized, as well as traveling around, watching games and going to games and attempting to form my own little basketball leagues in elementary school. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to play. I always wanted to play. And Screen every year was next year. Every year Papa was getting older, right? So every year was next year, but Pop was getting older and I was still next year. So I used to attempt to form like my own kind of leagues with my elementary school gym teacher and everything, like what, you know, all of this. But when we played that 6th grade year, and now I'm like the center of the team, right? The focus of the team, like pretty much, you know, say the best player of the team or the person that knows, the leader, right? Now I'm the coach's son, I'm the point guard, and I've already played ball and should be knowing what to do. You know what I'm saying? By this time, I already had played in the championship in citywide against the Thegauchos.
Wow.
When I was on the team, I didn't get no run in that game. But I was on that team, right? And we went to the championship. We was undefeated in citywide. The only game we lost was the championship to the Thegauchos. So I already had experience.
Who's on that team? Who's on that team?
On my Broncos team?
Yeah.
Kenny Anderson was point guard. Tiny Morton was the backup point guard. Darren Pointer was our scorer. We had a dude named Eddie that was like, oh man, he was like walking buckets. That was like one of Les' favorite players, book smart as well as court smart. And a dude named Willie, they were on our team. And there's a couple of other players that I'm leaving out, but.
How old were you guys during this time?
So we were playing biddies. It was 13 and under, citywide biddies, 13 and under. I was 10 going on 11. I thought Kenny was 10 going on 11, but I found out Kenny is one year older than me, so he was 11 going on 12. Darren and them were older. Tiny was a little older because he had played on that team already with Paco and them. Paco had just moved up from that team. So I was 10 going on 11 playing 13 and under. If somebody's birthday fell at a certain point, they could have possibly been 14 playing against us.
Wow. So no wonder you didn't get no burn. You was the youngest guy on the team.
Yeah, exactly. And Kenny, that was the first time we saw Kenny play. And Kenny, uh, and Tiny got his revenge. However, Tiny was supposed to be the next in line as Paco and Slice and all of them moved up. And Kenny came in and Kenny dominated the minutes. He dominated the minutes. He ran through that league. He ran through Citywide, and up until we played in the championship. And
Wow.
and
So
he and
Tiny was basically watching Kenny a lot, right?
right, yeah,
Only to
yes,
meet up against him in the city championship later
yes.
on
And I know it
and
was
going
sweet. I
forward.
know it was sweet because I know I watched Tiny being the backup to Pac and all of them, figuring like these guys moved up. I'm about to get my spot. And Kenny came out of nowhere. I hadn't seen Kenny before. And Kenny came out of nowhere. He got on that team. Well, Doc brought him. Doc had him. Doc brought him through. So, Doc used to bring him to the games and everything. June would drive him home or however it worked out. And yeah, he was on that team. So, and we played against the Gauchos. And on that team, the backcourt on that team was Jamal Walker and Arnold Bernard.
Wow.
So Kenny had a lot of problems in that championship game. And like we were young playing against, it was biddies. However, we were young. We were young.
And y'all was playing up.
We were playing 13 and under, right?
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it was 13 and under. It was biddies, and I was 10 going on 11. Kenny was 11 going on 12. Tiny was probably 12 going on 13.
Wow. That's crazy.
We played against
So,
Arnold and Jamal, who were actually supposed to be moving up to midgets right the next season.
right. And you mentioned Slice, my guy Cornelius Slice, right?
Slice,
He was on that team, man. Tell the world how good Slice was. He played with me at Lincoln as well, man. And I think if Slice wouldn't have fell off, God knows what he could have done in basketball, man. So how was Slice in those younger years?
Yeah, Slice was damn good. Slice was very, very good. Slice was damn good. On that team that they played the biddies in the biddy league that year before. Troy Douglas, Slice, Omar Morton, Darren Pointer, Paco. Oh man, I'm forgetting some people, but oh man, they were supposed to actually go to the championship that year, and they didn't. They lost to the Bachelors from Staten Island, in Citywide.
Wow, I never even heard of the Bachelors.
They lost to the Bachelors from Staten Island, and in the playoffs. And the game was to go. Remember, I don't know if you remember Citywide Championship. The championship in the summer. The game was in the Garden. It was in Madison Square.
Right.
Yeah. So they lost, and so the next season we actually went back. But Slice was good. Slice was damn good. And I heard you talking to Tiny, and he sacrificed. I don't know if he sacrificed, but he put everything aside to make sure his people, his family, that he figured had potential was going to get there. So he was there to push. I saw that from early on. But Slice
And he did that for a lot of guys who came out of Lincoln, especially who lived in Coney Island.
Yeah, Slice was damn good though. So salute to Slice.
Yes, my God. So back to you, my brother. Who did Scott Derrick said Larry played unlimited when he was 15 with my team's best point guard in Caton Park. Wow.
Hey yo, PZD.
What?
Oh man, yeah. I did play unlimited when I was a youngin' in the park. One of the youngest cats playing. I played in the very first ever Caton Park tournament as a very, very youngin'. I believe I held my own. I had scheduling conflicts with all the different teams I was playing with and the different tournaments I was playing in. However, in the camps and stuff, but yeah. It was a pleasure to play out there and, watch it's like crazy to watch your hometown people that you grew up with and know and everything, but the way they, cheer for you and everything, champion for you. Because a lot of times, remember, I'm playing uptown. So a lot of them don't get a chance to see me play, like really play until I come home, like with a trophy or something like that or whatever the case may be. But they still don't get a chance to see me play. I did take a lot of them with me. Well, not take them with me, but tell them, invite them to come to the games and come to the practices and all that. And so a lot of them did do that. However, to see them like going crazy in the park, that it was crazy. It was crazy as a youngin'. So that was dope.
That is crazy. 15 years old? Wow. I think I didn't start playing Unlimited till my junior year. I played in one tournament, and then in my senior year, I didn't play nothing else but Unlimited tournament.
Right.
That's crazy. Except the Brevo tournament that we played in that we won. So, yeah. So did you get a lot of criticism being compared to Paco?
No. I don't even think I was compared to Paco.
Okay.
I don't even think I was compared to Paco. The only thing I would get was Paco little brother. The description. Hence the name, right? My man
Right.
Larry, Paco little brother. It was just but I don't think I was compared. I don't think I got compared to him at all. I didn't pattern my game after his game. I watched what he did though. I watched what he did and saw him and took a lot of pointers from what he did. He worked with me real early. He told me, yo, there's two things I just want you to do. When I wanted to play ball, like I wanted to run around and play ball and come with him to the park and all of that stuff, he wouldn't allow me to play in the pickup game against him. You know what I mean? Until I was ready. And when I thought I was ready, I was a freshman in high school. He was a senior, and we played.
Right.
We were scrimmaging against him, and he told the coach, "I'm not guarding him." I'm like, "I'm guarding you." He's like, "You don't want it." You know what I'm saying? So that was the extent of any pressure or anything, and there was no comparison. I was able to, go and do my thing, and just carve my own little lane.
Right. So it didn't hinder you at all.
No.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. And you was putting yourself in these places as far as traveling young, right? Going to different places and seeking out basketball, wanting to be a part of it. So that made you kind of different. No one kind of spoon-fed you and gave you the way, even though you had a legendary coach and a brother that was like everything in New York.
Right. So I just had the support of them. I had their support. Pop was probably a lot of times like, "Oh, come on, man, again you coming? Oh, man, come on." He probably was like that. However, I was so cool with, how I am. I was so cool with all the older guards that I wasn't in his way. They would grab me up and be like, "Yo, Lad, come in and chilling with us. Lad, go over here." You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even be in his way, and I learned that from being young in the neighborhood. That all his older friends, I would be cool with them. I wouldn't, want to be around him so much. I would be cool with them. And if they did some extracurricular side stuff, I would do those things with them. You know what I mean? So
right.
It really wasn't a hindrance. But I did put myself out there. And also Ma Dukes, she allowed me, she supported me heavy and pursuing whatever I wanted to pursue. So
salute Mom Dukes, man. Rest in peace. That's right.
Thank you. You know that. She would be like, "Yo, as long as you take care of business, you can do what you need to do." You know what I mean? She was a stickler on me traveling by myself and time. The times that we're traveling and stuff like that. However, we figured it out. Get me a plan. You come up with a plan. You know what I mean? And okay, you can do it. You're gonna be able to do this. You're gonna live up to it. You'll be able to do it. So she was a stickler with it, but she did support me heavy. Because of that, I was able to go on a legendary trip before I even really started. Well, I was playing ball, but before I was playing, I was able to go to BCI pool in Arizona.
Wow.
With Stone Gym. I don't know if you remember Stone Gym, but it was right next door to Riverside. There was the gym right next to Riverside, and they had a program with Andy. Remember Andy Marr that played he played with Pat at Wagner.
Okay. Yeah.
He played for Stone Gym, and Pac, Troy Douglas, Omar Morton, Darren Pointer, my man Pancho Jose Nieves, and James Mingo, Andy Marr, a couple of them played with Stone Gym to go to BCI. And they had to pay. It wasn't no Riverside Gauchos type thing. They had to pay for their ticket, full price, or they had to sell raffle tickets. I was like, yo, can I go? And the coach was like, well, you sell raffle tickets or whatever. I said, for real?
That's it?
I asked Screen. He was like, I will talk to your mom when we get home. Listen, when I got home, my mom was like, yo, where's your raffle book and where's Paco's raffle book? I'm taking all of them to the job, selling those, and yeah. And then tomorrow we're going shopping. I get you clean underwear and socks, and you know what I mean. So I got to go. I got to go to BCI in Arizona, and that exposure opened me up to something crazy because out there with Riverside had a team in 16 and under and unlimited, and then Sun Devils had a team in 16 and under as well as unlimited. And then they played against like LA Watts and you played in BCI, I'm pretty sure. Y'all played in BCI, so y'all know what that's about. It's something similar to the AAU program.
Right.
That was big. Riverside played against LA Watts at halftime of the Portland Trailblazers Phoenix Suns game at the Rosemont Coliseum or something. You feel me? So I was like, that's different exposure. And I'm chilling, and Sun Devils had all these guys. Your man John Arnold talked about him, Lamont Thornton, and Dwayne Ivory, and Riverside had Stu Barnett and Tony Child. No, Tony Child's played with Sun Devils, and John Johnson and Mel Kennedy and all them played on the unlimited team. So I got to experience that real early. Going on a trip, and from that trip, that's around Easter vacation. From that trip up until we got into college school, I never was home for Easter. I was somewhere at some basketball tournament. However, after that trip, I was playing in them. I was participating in them.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
I put myself out there to be involved, and you know what? I think I wanted to always be playing on another level. So.
Wow. Well, I want to get the Cook Dog said, my guy Larry, this is Cookie. I hope all is well, good brother.
Who that Cookie Head?
No, Cook Dog, whoever that is. I just
hey yo, that's Leonard, that's Buckets. That's
yeah,
Buckets.
I think so.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
I wanted to know about Small Fry. He said, ask him about Small Fry.
Oh,
everyone talks about Small Fry. John Arnold talked about Small Fry.
Yeah. So John Arnold played on that team. I thought because he said he played with Nick Van Exel, and Nick Van Exel also went to Small Fry when we went. So he must have went like 3 years in a row.
I think he played against him. I'm not sure.
He played for Kenosha, Wisconsin. I got the program book still. Cool, you know that. I got the program book. However, so Small Fry.
You need to get those program books on Basketball Head. You need to put them up, man.
So listen. So Small Fry was I think it's 13 and under. However, you had to be 5'1" and under. You couldn't be 5'1". They lowered the rims, and the first year I went to Small Fry in Tampa, Florida, right? And on my team was actually Phil Hayes was supposed to be on my team. I think he broke his arm. Juju was already too tall. Juju was already too tall to play Small Fry. My man Laurel Hendricks' brother, Jazz Kazi, was supposed to play with us at Small Fry. However, at 12 and under, 13 and under, he was already, so he didn't play. But on my team was Tim White, George Blue, Dexter Dunbar. These are uptown cats that put, Bobby Burke, Kareem Biggs Burke, older brother.
Right.
He was on my team. However, when we did the height and we had to get measured in, he was too tall, and that was only because he had the Uptown Pro. If he ain't got the Uptown Pro, he wouldn't have been too tall. So, Barbara, rest in peace, Bobby Burke.
That's right. So that's Barbara that Jay-Z was talking about?
Yeah. He was on my team, on my Small Fry team, going to Tampa, Florida. My man Derek Gary from Queens, and he also had family in Fort Greene. Y'all know, I'm pretty sure most people on here know him, Derrick Gary. He was too tall as well. So we had 3 players that were too tall, so we got disqualified. So, like John was saying,
hold on. So y'all just couldn't let them play? Like the whole team was just
we no, meaning that all of our games were forfeited. We can play, but every game was a loss no matter what. They couldn't participate though. The 3 of them couldn't. The 3 that were too tall couldn't participate because
so what's the point?
you had to have at least 10 players. Remember, John was saying yesterday it was 2 units of 5 each. Played the first half, and then you could play whoever else after that. But being that we only had 9, and on the team that John played on, that I was talking about, that Kenny Anderson and Lamont Yoda Wright played for TS Bucks, they were the powerhouse. However, when they did the height in, Kenny was too tall, so Kenny couldn't compete in Tampa either. If Kenny would have played, they would have ran the whole tournament.
Wow.
If Kenny would have played with that team, they would have ran the whole tournament. TS Bucks, Tom Sweet, Leroy Otis, they would have ran that whole tournament. But yeah, so small fry. So I played in small fry that year. I guess that's my 6th grade. My 6th grade year, I played in small fry. Went to Tampa, Florida. We got disqualified because of the height, and although we still got to compete, but we got moved right to the losers bracket immediately. And then the following year, we went again, and we went to Puerto Rico. I think San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Art was on my team. How old
were you going to Puerto Rico? Playing basketball?
11 and 12 years old.
Damn.
11 years old.
I was playing football with it. Shit.
Yeah. 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 So we went. I don't know who played against us in Puerto Rico, but we played against some teams. But the Bucks had a team in Puerto Rico as well. But yeah, we went to small fry. That was dope. So that was again during Easter time. So I wasn't home for Easter around Easter time. So that was BCI in Arizona, small fry in Tampa, Florida, and then small fry in Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Now I'm heating up. Fool. I feel like I'm heating up.
Yo, first of all, your career as a kid is enough to sit back and enjoy life because most guys didn't experience what you have experienced at a young age. All right? And speaking of that, your son, my nephew, Papi Jordy, he said when you get a chance, show your trophies. Show your accomplishments, Pops.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
No doubt. I definitely want to give my nephew a shout out. Salute. And give the baby a kiss for me, fam. I'm proud of you. So, how did you end up as a Xaverian? And why not go to the PSAL? Like, you got all these public schools around you. Why not?
Good question. All right, so Xaverian was definitely going to be one of the choices. Public school may not have been an option unless it was going to be Brooklyn Tech or something like Stuyvesant. Because of my Dukes, everything was, grades, and she wanted me to go to a school. She didn't want me to be in the mix with people. I almost didn't make it to Walt Whitman. And if it was up to her, I wouldn't have been in Walt Whitman. So,
wow.
You know what I mean? So I took the entrance exam for the Catholic schools. Obviously, Paco was already in Xaverian. I knew about Xaverian. I played in CYO against mostly Catholic school kids that were going to potentially go to Catholic schools. And I also was going to Coneseca Sarachek basketball camp, which that's like a pipeline to the Catholic schools for the most part, whether it's Christ the King, St. Francis Prep, St. John's, whatever it is. So I knew it was going to be a Catholic. I knew it was going to be a Catholic school. I took the entrance exam. I took the entrance exams for Lockland, Bishop Ford, and Xaverian. I kind of got offered an opportunity to go to Nazareth from playing at Holy Innocents, because most of the guys from Holy Innocents went to Nazareth. So they I guess were talking to the coach at that time about it. I didn't even have any interest in Nazareth at that time, everything was Xaverian. Bishop Lachlan, definitely, right? Or Bishop Ford, because that's a walk. That's a walk from my house.
Right.
So I took the exam. I don't know why I disregarded NAS, and in hindsight, probably should have been one on my top list, but I disregarded NAS. That wasn't even in contention. And when I got the scores back, I got accepted to all. I immediately pushed forward to the side, and I put Xaverian and Lachlan down, and I did the eeny, meeny, miny, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and I did it 3 times, and each time it was Xaverian.
Wow.
Xaverian, and I still wanted to do it again. And I was like, come on, either you pick Lachlan or you're gonna go to Xaverian. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like
Decisions.
Exactly, decisions. It wasn't like I was heavily recruited, but that was in front of me. So I picked Xaverian. And again, it was an easy transition because I had already been playing in CYO. I had already been going to Sarachek camp, which most of the coaches from Xaverian were there. I kind of knew them. I already knew them from going to the games when Pac was playing and stuff. So I had a relationship with them with regard to that. So it was easy. A couple of my boys went to Lachlan at the time. Jadon Jackson was going to Lachlan. My boy Pedro Violet Buddha, God rest his soul. And I believe Craig was going there as well, and he was a guard. And then they had a couple of other guards that they were telling me about that was there. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to Xaverian, and then we'll play. We'll play against. I'll play against my boys. You know what I mean? I can't. So I went to Xaverian.
All right. So your cousin in Real October said, "You want to hear about the White Castle story?"
Well, that starts my career at Xaverian. All right. So before that, though, I played for Whitman, right? Before that, I played for Whitman as a 7th grader, right? The only 7th grader on the team. Kenny Henry was on my team, and we played our first game. We played against Leopards at Whitman, and we got rocked. Pablo, Weedy, Easterlin rocked us. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that was my first glimpse of Weedy, of Low, NBA Low. Salute NBA Low. That was my first glimpse of him. And he was running through that Whitman court on them. I'm going to say on them. Because when I got in the game, you know what I do when I get in the game, when I get limited minutes. However, I got a lot of time that game, but I wasn't starting. I was, like I said, I was the only 7th grader. And because we lost, and because I was going to Whitman, they did not let them leave the gym. They wouldn't let them leave the school. They had to get police escorts to leave the school in junior high school, our first game. So there goes the program. No more games. So now just straight AAU, Gauchos, Holy Innocents, whatever. All right, so so I didn't even get to play 8th grade at Whitman, and I think Art got the benefit of playing for Whitman after I left.
Wow.
They figured out that they were going to, make an attempt to redo the program again after that craziness.
Wow.
Yeah. So but
that was like the mountains at the palace.
Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't no scrap. They just wouldn't let them leave. It was mostly our cheerleaders.
That's crazy.
That's why Mondukes ain't want me to go to Whitman. So, the White Castle story. So, I'm in Xaverian. This is actually, speaking of Mondukes, ironic. It was Mondukes' birthday that day, that it was Mondukes' birthday, November 9th. You know what I'm saying? So, was my practice at Xaverian before my first scrimmage game.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin Julie, he was at the practice with me. He came to practice with me as Xaverian, and we doing our drills, we running through plays, we getting ready. Our first scrimmage the next day against Xavier. Beginning of high school career, everything, and we going through the drills, everything. And I don't know what happened. I went up with my big man Amadi on the drill, snatched the rebound. I got the rebound. I came down, and we started running drill, and all I know is that I couldn't go no more. I didn't know what happened. I felt like I twisted something, but I wasn't certain. And right after that play, coach was like, all right, let's, run, in the practice, let's run suicides. And I couldn't go through the suicides. And he's thinking I'm just, like milking it. He's thinking I'm going through the motions. And I'm like, coach, something happened. I don't know. And he's like, all right, we'll sit, get dressed, whatever, whatever. So that day we get dressed. It was a ritual on Saturday that me, Art, Junie, and said, my brothers, my best friends, we would walk to White Castles, up Fort Hamilton, up, straight up Caton to Fort Hamilton, and we go to White Castles every Saturday. We go there, we walk through the neighborhoods, at them times, creepy stuff going on, but we would walk through the neighborhoods. We was walking by ourselves. We walk straight up Fort Hamilton. It's not like over here in Flatbush, so you know what I'm saying.
Right.
We would do that every Saturday, and I came home, I got up, we got up with Art, we got up with Sam, we did our ritual, we walked home, and figured it's all good. We chilling at the crib, whatever. I'm like, all right, I got tomorrow, got a game, got to get up early, I'm hyped. Wake up in the morning, and my knee is about this big, fool.
Wow.
My knee is about this swelled up. I couldn't even move. I remember I went to practice, I came home, I walked to White Castles, we chilling, all of that. I mean, I was limping a little bit, but I didn't think nothing of it. I woke up, my knee was like this.
Wow.
So, I looked at my Dukes, and, we immediately went to the emergency room, check it out. They said they took x-rays, everything, said I had fractured my knee. And it was a Sunday, because that was Saturday, it was Sunday. And they sent me to some orthopedic specialists. Marduk worked for the city, so it wasn't no question. Insurance, it was like, what we got to do? We're not waiting, you know what I mean? Call who's open now,
Right.
So, they had an orthopedic specialist on Ocean Parkway we had to go to. And they put me in they took more x-rays, they did extensive, tests and stuff. And they said, yeah, you got a fractured knee. And I have what Shaq had, Osgood Slaughter. You know what I mean? Nobody never heard of that before, but the class of 89, because Shaq is the class of 89 with me, we got Osgood Slaughter. So that's the doctor said I had Osgood Slaughter. So,
Right.
Yeah, I got I was one of the first, I don't know if I was one of the first, but they said this is a new cast. It wasn't the plaster of Paris cast. It was like a fiberglass cast. I got that put on, and I was out for a month and a half, 2 months, just to start my high school career. So I missed like the scrimmage games, I missed the non-conference, I missed the first couple of regular season games, the holiday tournament and stuff like that. I came back in February. I think I came back in February. Cast off. I got the cast off like it was supposed to be December. It was supposed to be 4 weeks. It was supposed to be like December 10th, but it got extended to like right before Christmas. It got extended to right before Christmas, and then I had to rehab for another month and a half or whatever. But and good thing I'm doing, Xaverian. They had facilities there. They had the jacuzzi and the sauna and the weight room, and they had the link with the doctors, with St. John's doctor and the New York Knicks doctor. So they were kind of sending me different places to get checked out and see what my my rehab and my therapy was going to be. And so I kind of got it together. With the help of my boy. He was a football player too. His name was Keith Harding, and he played, his name was Keith Harding. Yeah, and
That's crazy.
He played with Keith Dos Reese. You know Keith Dos Reese, right? That went to Lincoln. He played football for Lincoln.
Yeah, definitely. Yup.
Yeah, they played football together. So they was, they played basketball, but they were football players, and they were short like me, stocky dudes. And Keith Dos Reese instruction to Keith Harding was to, get him back in shape so he'd be ready to play ball. Because Keith Reese was like my, he's like he's a year older than me, so I looked up to him. He was my homie. I ain't gonna say my big homie, but he was a year above me, and
No doubt. And he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, and at that time he was already playing football, basketball, boxing. His dad had him doing all that stuff. So his instruction to Keith Harden, who went to Xaverian with me, was like, "Yo, you know what to do. You get him right physically, so he could be ready to play." So he was working with me, and that's how when I got to Xaverian, I was a little, I was looking like something a little bit.
His dad used to train Jay-Z, right?
His dad used to train Jay-Z and Dame Dash and all of them. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Art said don't skip all the work he put in with the Gauchos and all the tournaments uptown. Yeah, we was talking about that, Art. We got into that.
Yeah.
He said that's when he started out first.
I know what he's talking about. He don't want to miss. He don't want to skip over playing. How our camaraderie and playing with Juju, Norman Marbury. One of my best friends. Growing up, playing ball out there. But yeah, we did put in a lot of work with Gauchos. So before I moved to Gauchos, I played for Sun Devils. That was who I went to play small fry with, right? And I played with a lot of great ball players at that organization. And then I moved over to the TS Bucks, the same team that John Arnold said he played with. For a summer, I played with the Bucks and hung out in King Towers for the whole summer.
Wow.
Playing up there because we would have games all day. So I'm not gonna go up there and come back to Brooklyn. So
right.
I would hang out. So I played with the TS Bucks, and then I moved over to Gauchos. Did
you open up the gym?
I opened up the gym. I cut the ribbon. Ma Dukes was there with me. We cut the ribbon on the gym. We were at the Gauchos banquet, and Lou thought he was cooking some smooth stuff about tuition and all that. Ma Dukes was like, "I'll take care of that. Don't worry about that. You just worry about what he does with basketball. Don't worry about that." All right? And he was like, "Well, I got a surprise for y'all." And the last person he talked to before we went out the door and walked around the corner to cut the ribbon was Ma Dukes. And he's like, "I got a surprise for y'all. Follow me." And we all walked around the corner. We was at the Savoy Manor, and we cut the ribbon on the Gaucho gym.
Wow.
And I bought my cuz up there the next morning along with Art, and I believe Art was with me and said hello. And they christened the gym along with the Gaucho greats and my teammates, and it was just everybody was on there playing ball.
Wow.
I cut the ribbon on the official Gaucho gym.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, your cousin want to know the real October. What up, June? Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate you. Said, what was your best wheelchair and golden hoop moments?
Oh man. Shoot. Wow. So those would be moments that I watched, right? The wheelchair classic. You had Coach Ray Haskin on there, and we spoke. And I told you to ask him about the fact that he cursed me out because he was like, "Why didn't you tell me Screen was your dad?" So my senior year, I tried out for wheelchair. I actually made the team. I made wheelchair, and I made the city game. Tom Konchowski was calling me, making sure I was playing the city game. However, I had dipped off and tried out. Nobody thought I was going to try out for wheelchair. I tried out. I'm like, why not? I tried out, and I actually made it. I went to Goldwater Hospital. I might still have my essay.
Wow.
I wrote this essay, and I believe if I would have participated, I believe my essay would have been the top essay. Every year they rate the top essay.
Yeah, you're writing skills is crazy.
Goldwater, and I wrote my essay. However, it was a juggle between city game and wheelchair, and then also the politics of my athletic director at Xaverian, because why is he getting all this shine and he didn't even, you know what I mean? And he's not even the guy that we're electing to be the guy. So, you know what I mean? Like you said, I put myself out there to be in position. And I did that. However, the politics behind the scene kind of messed me up. And to Ray Haskins' credit, I didn't use the trump card. I didn't well, not the trump card. I didn't use the big joker and say, you know what? By the way, I'm screening side. They didn't know. I was on my own merit, rocking. And the point guard that made it, because I still made it as an alternate. Art loved that word. I'm pretty sure Art gonna laugh at that word. As an alternate, I still made it as an alternate, right? But the point guard that got the spot was the senior point guard for boys and girls at that time, who he wasn't like rated or ranked. However, he was good. I forgot his name, but he played with Bud and them. Bud and them was like juniors, and he was a senior. He was a senior on that team. So shout out to him, but he got the spot. He probably would have still made the spot with me, but I would have been on that team had I had the politics of behind the scenes not happened. So my moment would be watching Wheelchair Classics, and I mean I could go down the list from Wheelchair Classics from 1983 all the way up to 89, maybe even 90. I think I even was at the 90 Wheelchair Classic. So I mean all of them. Seeing Pearl play, Elma Anderson, Pop playing it, John, just everybody, like to see them. So you see them in high school playing with their high school team. You see them playing like, in the summer with the AAU team, but to see them represent each borough, like the battle of the boroughs. So that was special. So I mean, it's too many to name.
Who used to win the most of them?
I was Brooklyn and Manhattan. Back then. Yeah, Brooklyn and Manhattan back then. And then Golden Hoops is the same thing. I never actually participated in Golden Hoops. But all the games from the time we were going up there was crazy.
Louis Skaggs want to know what player gave you the most trouble to guard?
Well, coming up early, it would have to be Lamont Yoda Wright. He played for the Bucks. He's in that picture of the Thegauchos pool that you posted. It probably have to be Lamont Yoda Wright coming up early. And then Hector, God rest his soul. Hector, I played against him up in Rucker. Didn't know he was from Brooklyn. And then I played against him in LG and realized he was revered in Brooklyn. Like, oh man, but then we became cool. But however, he was toughest to guard.
Wow.
He was tough to guard. Yoda was a problem, but and then yeah, I'm gonna say those two.
Okay. So let's get back to the Xaverian days.
Yeah.
How was those years?
So like I said, my freshman year, I got hurt early. I came back in around February, so that's like mid-season. It was cool. We had a good team. I was obviously getting sparing minutes because I was still rehabbing, right? And then we got to like the thick of the season, and the minutes was good. We were winning. We was rocking. I was back in the thick of everything, because I had to work my way back into sync. I never got my way back into the starting lineup my freshman year. However, I had to work my way back into sync. So now I'm getting more run, and I realized that depending on who we play, depends on the way my minutes will go. You know what I mean? If we was playing those top-notch teams, laugh. When we was playing against, then they let me sit there for a little while, So, however, it went well. We went to the championship. We took the championship, first ever freshman championship for Xaverian in Xaverian history.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's real. Who were some of the guys on your team?
Well, my team was my big man was Amadi Penn. He played with Most Precious Blood, played with the Flames with Juju and Kazi and them. The point guard was Joe Azanaro, one of my best friends growing up as well, who played with me in art at Holy Innocents, Dave Mancini.
Right.
And he went to Providence for volleyball. He was good. Brian McGrath was on that team. He went to Brandeis. Mike Tiernan, yeah, it was a lot of CYO name guys, on my team. Me and Amadi were the only guys on the team. However, we had a very good team. I think we lost 3 games the whole year, and we took the city championship. Yeah.
So what was some of the politics you had to go through playing as a Xaverian?
I think I think they had the segue with me getting injured, as the excuse, right? So, and then they had their players that they wanted to push. I didn't so much conform to the. Well, I went to school. I was one of the top students, books wise, so that was no issue, right? However, I'm still playing with Gauchos. I'm still playing AAU. I'm still playing. I still keep myself active playing. Obviously not during the season. However, right after the season, I'm playing. And if we got AAU games or whatever, I'll be going to those and stuff like that. So I don't know. And then I don't know if that played a part in it. I don't know. However, I know they had their players who they wanted to push and that they pushed. And so
yeah, it's like that, and certain programs, and I don't know because I wasn't there, but I think they put all their juice and pour all their juice in the bucket with Pop. That when you came, they was just like, okay, we can use something against him, so we'll have to pour that juice into it.
Right,
you know what I mean? But you didn't follow him. You kind of made your way the whole time, even getting to Fairliegh Dickinson. Well, we're going to get to that too. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And let me tell you something, Pooh. As good as Paco was, as great as his career was as a Xaverian, had he not been who he was, they would have attempted that. They were attempting that with him. But it would have been first of all, they didn't have the other pieces to even play anyone else, right? During his years, unfortunately. Right? That team that won that same year, I remember their freshman team. They hardly won that many games. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't have the pieces to do that to him. And they attempted to tarnish or put a shade on his light as much as possible, as much as they could.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So when they could with you, they did it.
Right, exactly. Right. Exactly.
Wow. That's great.
And I was attempting, after the freshman year, I chalked it up to, I got injured, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back stronger next year, break 5 ankles, come back stronger next year, like Sweet Pea Lloyd Daniels say, right? So I'm thinking, and then so I'm playing, in the summer I'm playing AAU, I'm rocking, we
All right, we're gonna hold on to that thought. We're gonna come back. All right, one more session, all right?
Okay, cool.
My brother. We coming back. Yeah. It's so crazy, right? After the interview yesterday, John Arnold hit me up like about 1 in the morning, like, yo, son, I forgot to ask you about the music. I thought that was cool. Yo, and he's a producer. I didn't even know that.
Oh, really?
What? Yeah, they got a project now. I'll let you check it out, man. Him and this guy, they put out R&B, but definitely smooth and good listen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my man John Arnold, salute.
R&B, the Uptown dudes always was on that smooth stuff.
Right. Okay, all right. So, I always like to ask people this question, and I don't think we even got there to this question, but I want to know anyway. During your time of hustling and bustling through the city playing ball in New York City, who ass did you bust to let you know, man, I can play this game?
Oh, man. Well, I don't know.
Damn, I know you're very humble guy.
I gotta get the list though, but I'll get to it. But what made me realize that I could play the game, actually, honestly, was playing in Keaton Park, right? With the older guys. because I always played with the older guys in Caden Park, right? And being able to compete, right? And then when I played uptown, I played with the Sun Devils, and we played in Stone Gym. We played in Stone Gym, Pooh. So so we talked about small fry, right? So we played in Stone Gym, and there was biddies, and then there was super biddies.
Right.
So remember, I'm playing at 11, 12 years old. I was playing super biddies, and you had to be under 5'6". I already told you I was way under 5'1", so you know I was under 5'6", right? So I was playing super biddies, and this is like me playing with my age group and maybe 1 year above me. And that's relatively not too much taller than me, right? And I mean, Cass was always taller than me, right? Juju was already too tall to play 5'6" and under. So that's how tall Juju was. So imagine we both playing guard. Juju is taller than 5'6". I'm like 4'4" or something like that, right? So anyway, we played Stone Gym Super Biddy, and I'm running through that league. I'm running through the league, and I'm playing with Sun Devils, and I'm running through the league. I'm playing with cats like Dexter Dunbar, George Blue, and these are guys that already was playing with Sun Devils, you know, and they already making a bones. So for me to come in and start getting busy, and for them to start gravitating towards me, that's what showed me that I could really play. Because remember, I'm a Brooklyn cat coming uptown, and we're young, so it's not even like older cats that understand the game and the culture of, yo, we got to travel to play. We're young, so these guys that have been like coming up in that grassroots program, holding their own, and they got their territorial. So for me to come and run through the league on the team with them, and them now saluting me, that's what showed me, that's what gave me the confidence that I could really play, honestly. So it wasn't about me. And in the course of that, I was running through cats, I was busting niggas, chopping them up. But that's what really showed me that I could really ball. Or really made me feel that I could really ball and hold my own.
Right.
Yeah, on the court.
So who was some of the players that you looked up to in New York City that was playing?
Again, John Johnson. We had a lot of players from Brooklyn. Mo Kirby, Troy Douglas, because these are all guys that was playing with Pop that I saw first. These are the first line of guys that I saw first, right? Laurel, those guys like that, right? And then going uptown and seeing Rod Strickland play, that was just like, that was Rod Strickland and Boo Harvey, but Rod Strickland was off the chain for me.
Yeah, he was definitely on another level.
Yeah, he was on another level. And the guy that I patterned my game after was Boogie Mike Thornton. So that's Lamont Tip Thornton's younger brother.
He was nice.
Yeah, you remember him?
Yeah.
So that's who I wanted to kind of pattern my game after coming up. And I think I got a lot of my handling skills from him. I mean, I watched Pac with the fundamentals. Pac was real fundamentally sound. However, he could do all that boogie stuff, but he didn't take out no time to do that. Pac going. He's going. So I was able to, play around a little bit and draw from Boogie Mike. He worked with me at Sun Devils. He worked with me. We went to the University of Pittsburgh basketball camp with Laddie Baldwin and all of those guys. Phil went too. And Boogie Mike really kind of took me under his wing there. And then from that, I kind of was patterning my game after him. So him, Pearl, and Rod Strickland was I would say I put those games together to kind of come up with my game early on.
Who were some of the guys that was good during your later years in high school, like in the city? Who were some of the guys that was, you was checking out or about?
Oh man. So the Adrian, in my class was class of '89, so Adrian Autry is younger. However, my class is Kenny Anderson, Conrad McCray, who I got a chance to play with. We were young playing in Chico League. Rest in power, Conrad. We played in Chico League, 16 and under. Les Pilgrim sent me to the clock at Hanson Place to meet with Conrad for June to pick us up so we can go to the Chico League and play, so we can get some exposure as young cats. And me and Conrad was the only one scoring playing 16 and under. But
Wow.
Conrad, Dave Edwards played with me growing up, as well as, you know, in high school, I looked up to him. Norman Juju Marbury, Charnel Scott, Lenny Cook Williams, Jamal Mashburn, all these guys are my teammates, right? Lenny Cook Williams was phenomenal. He was like a two-way guard, was phenomenal with buckets.
From where?
Right?
From where?
He went to All Hallows. He's from Uptown. That was Cook Dog that was on here.
Oh, okay.
He's in that picture with Yoda, and with the Gauchos.
Yo, we need to get him on here, man. Hit him up. So get him on here.
Yeah, so all of those guys, Adrian Autry, you know, Lee Green, God rest his soul. Man, you know, the Laurel Hendricks, the Pat Alphonses, you know, all of those guys, you know, the Darryl Flowers, and, you know, I don't want to leave out our Brooklyn PSAL. I don't want to be straight CHSAA, Brooklyn and Uptown. But, right. However, you know, in Brooklyn, those guys, at Lockland, well, Jade Arm was at Lockland, then he went to Grady. Now, it was so many players that I played with and played against and watched play during that time, that, I mean, I could go down the list. I mean, I could go down the list of basketball heads, like what this platform is based off of. That list of watching or being a part of it, it was phenomenal. So, I mean, I could go down the list. Maybe you could ask me somebody and I can tell you, because if I have to go down the list, it's going to be too much. You know?
Right. Well,
those are the guys that I watched play and I looked up to and stuff, Tiny, you know, and all of those guys.
Yeah, Art is sitting up here predicting all the stuff you're going to talk about. He said, now he's going to talk about Dave Edwards.
Oh, we get the basketball stories all day, but yeah.
Right. You say you are a walking basketball encyclopedia.
Oh man, yeah, baby. That I showed you, man. I was the statistician, man. I used to be in the crib keeping the stats. I showed you the Big East championship game between St. John's and Georgetown. I still got the stats.
Tell people, I know. Tell people what you used to do when you were younger.
What I used to do when I was younger?
Yes, when you used to watch college games.
Oh, I used to keep the stats. I used to have my oak tag, my color pins, just like how you see the statisticians with their multiple pins, multiple colors. I would sit down, I would tune into the game. I would already have the names written out like you would do in the scorer's book. I would have that already prepared. I would keep stats. I would keep field goals. It wouldn't be just how many the X's and the O's. It wouldn't just be the X's for scoring. It would be something that indicated that you made a field goal attempt. Then the X's if you scored. Then the O's if you made took a free throw. Then I colored it in if you made it. I would have the rebounds, the steals, and then what I did is I prided myself with comparing it with the stats in the paper the next day, or the stats when they showed it at the end of the game. You know what I mean? So I used to do that when just watching the game, because I just wanted to be interested in the game. I just wanted to have that information. I would know all the high school that the college players came from and stuff like that. It was a time when I would know all of that. It was crazy. It was crazy, but that started from me going with Screen to his games, and I couldn't play, and I would do anything because I wanted to have that shirt that said staff on it, so I would get the book and I would be the scorekeeper. You know what I'm saying? For real, and it started from there.
Yo, that Art said that comes from a slight case of OCD, cause trust me, my brother is so on point. It's why no matter what I do, Stim is right there on my side. Yo, he's gonna show you. Like, I can show you my trophy that's in my closet, tucked away somewhere. He still has his up, and he's gonna show you guys. All right, he's gonna show you the trophy, and he keeps them clean, and they still look nice. Like he just got them. Yo,
But Pooh,
Wait till you see this.
when I see but I did have the trophies, right? However, when we was in school and we came home and I went to your crib and I seen how you had them laid out, I had reorganized them like that. So when I kept it like that, that's 30 years, Pooh, is 30.
No, let me tell you, it's crazy because family, friends, people will come in and they will look forward to looking at the trophy case. Like, oh, look all the trophies. And after a while, for me, it just was like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But for you, brother, to keep yours up, man, and people will see your accomplishments, and now get to hear your story, right? Which we've not even finished yet. Because how do you make yourself get to FDU and then get the team and play Division One coming from Xaverian? With all the trouble you've been having at Xaverian.
Right. So yeah.
No, I just want to know, fam.
So, all right. So in Xaverian, my junior year, I decided to play varsity B, right? Because I wasn't comfortable just sitting on the bench, continuously sitting on the bench. I'm playing, with Gaucho. I'm competing at the highest level, AAU, right? And then I'm here, and this is a high level as well. I'm not gonna discredit it. However, come on, I played against these guys for years in CYO. I played against these guys every summer at Carnesecca camp. Come on. Now, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm gonna play varsity B, and I'm not gonna deal with that. And the coach got upset. Why aren't you going out for varsity? I said, why? Terrence Moon was on the varsity team, and he was a senior, and I was going to be a junior, right? I had my boy Tyrone Stevens, who would have been should have been a starting point guard, right? And he was a senior, and so I was like, I'm sitting behind the cats in my class. Now I'm going to move up. There's all these guys on the team, plus my class is moving up. So where's that put me? I'm not even doing this year. You know what I mean? I'm going to play varsity B, and I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to continue to play for Gauchos and, make my bones how I need to make my bones. I did that. A few other players decided to do the same thing. A few seniors who said they didn't even want to play basketball no more because they got cut from the varsity team. They felt they should have made it, decided, you know what? We're going to play varsity B too. So we had a nice crew. The backdoor politics. The athletic director sabotaged the whole thing. And our coach, who actually coached Pat at Powell Memorial, Tony Grasso, he was like, you know what, I'm done with this. And he called off the season. So now I'm stuck in limbo. So the whole season, I'm not playing. I'm playing, Gauchos. And then Dave McCullough was pissed with me.
Why?
He was like, what are you talking about? You went to go play varsity B. Why wouldn't you just go play varsity and sit? And I said, he's like, no, that's not, Dave McCullough wasn't happy. He wasn't having it. He's like, no, you're not playing with me during the season. You'll play in the summer. You'll play once the season is over and AAU starts in the summer. So I couldn't even play Gaucho. Dave McCullough shut me down. Dave Jones, who was the coach before, but for the younger guys, he was no longer my coach. He was actually encouraging me to, figure out a different way, whether it be transfer or whatever. And I attempted that. My Deuce was like, transfer for what? What are you talking about? And then I attempted to get
right.
Yeah. I attempted to get myself removed from the school, and that's where the punctuality situation started, fool. So I was perfectly, and that didn't work because the tuition was paid. Why would we remove him from the school? So I couldn't get kicked out. I couldn't transfer, so I had to stay there. Dave McCullough was like, I'm not even entertaining that or encouraging that. You should have been playing varsity, going out for varsity, wait your turn, whatever the case may be, and the summer and you do what you gotta do. And so I didn't play. I had to wait till AAU time and play, and then summer, whatever. Then my senior year, the coach told me, being that you decided to play varsity B last year, I can tell you right now, you're going to probably be like the fifth guard coming off the bench. So that's not the fifth guard in rotation. He's at the fifth guard coming off the bench. I don't know how many guards you thought you were gonna have on the team, but I was like, I'll play varsity B again. And this year they actually had a team, and we played a couple of games, but it wasn't like the extensive varsity B schedule like it normally was because we had to now get back into the league. So it was just to keep myself active playing. The summer before my senior year, I went to BC All-Star Camp. Thanks to Rob Johnson and my best friend Art Walker for plugging, but definitely thanks to Rob Johnson for actually making it happen. I went to BC camp and I showcased what I could do. Art tell a famous story about me actually really, I don't know, injuring someone's ankle. I don't know if they broke or they fractured or they sprained.
Who's that? Who's that?
I don't know who it was. I don't know.
Who was it? Who ankles did he break, Art?
I don't know who it was, but it was somebody. It was, yeah. And I really performed at camp. I had something to prove. I really had something to prove. And because of that, I got a couple of looks. And FEU was one of the looks I got, fool. FEU was one of the looks that I got from BT All-Star Camp. FDU, Dayton, Springfield College, Hartford. I wrote to Illinois and they wrote back to me. So, but I wrote to Illinois and they wrote
I can
back.
imagine you doing that.
I wrote to Illinois and they wrote back to me. And I got a look from Chaminade in Hawaii, Chaminade University.
Just imagine you went out there, fam.
I know, kid. So, again, so I was getting those looks early on. Again, I played varsity B, the situation with varsity, I played varsity B.
Was Jimmy Jack on your team? Rick Combs want to know.
Jimmy Jack was 2 years. Jimmy Jack was 2 years above me. Wait, Jimmy Jack played with Tyrone. Jimmy Jack. Oh, shucks. No, Jimmy Jack was 2 years above me. Jimmy Jack played with Steve Nicholas. Jimmy Jack played in the championship game with Paco up at Glen Falls. So he was 2 years above me. That's my man, Jimmy Jack. Salute Jimmy Jack. And his best friend, John Shell. I don't even know what his rank is. Right now with NYPD, or he's retired, but he was high ranking when I last saw him. But salute to Jimmy Jack and John Shell. But they were 2 years above me. They graduated in '87. So so all that happened with varsity B, varsity. I got the looks. I got a couple of letters. Again, remember the letters go to the athletic director. They ain't coming to me. A lot of the letters getting held. I'm not getting told. There's certain people that go into the athletic director's office who's alerting me that you got letters, and then when you put them on the spot, then lad, I got some letters for you, and all of those things, and so that happened. So it delayed the process of me really getting back with anybody. He was pushing for me to go to Springfield because I think he knew someone at Springfield, so I think he was making it seem like it was his pipeline. Meanwhile, they weren't even coaching me, right? Everything was on, off of the work that I put in kind of on my own. I just happened to go there. I would just happen to be a student there. So I started just getting discouraged. I was like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to school anyway, whatever school I'm going to. I'm going to go to school. My thing was I knew what schools was Division I and Division II and Division III already. I knew what schools was in what conferences, but I was like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to a Division I school wherever I go. And wherever I go to school at, I'm going to walk on. I'm going to walk on that team. Right. And then I decided on FDU. Big O, our brother, was going to FDU, and he always was telling me to come up there and visit and all of that stuff. However, I never got a chance to in advance of getting up to the school. So what did I do? I applied to the school. I didn't even entertain the letter. I didn't even write back to the coach. Nothing. I just said, you know what? I'll have that in my hat. You know what I mean? I have that under my belt. And then I applied. I got accepted. And And then I said, you know what? When I get there, I'm going to walk on. And the crazy thing is, my boy Akeem, Maurice, Mo Brown,
Definitely. Yeah.
Akeem, Sedlow, Junie, they were all working at like Tequila Willie's, Houlihan's, the Tequila right, for the youth organization, and they were working for those different restaurants. And Akeem was working at Tequila Willie, Tequilaville, whatever. And the manager was good friends with a coach, and the coach happened to be Greg Patrone.
Yeah, shoes. Yeah.
Right? He happened to be Greg Patrone, and Akeem asked him where he coached at. He was like, I coach at Fairliegh Dickinson. He was like, what? He was like, yo, my boy is going to Fairliegh Dickinson. He ran down he goes to Xaverian. He probably hit him with he's Paco's little brother. I'm pretty sure, you know the description. So, and he was like, he's going there. He played for Xaverian. He's played for Thegauchos. I'm pretty sure he's saying all that stuff. So Patron was like, well, when he gets there, let him know to look me up. Let him know I'm going to be coaching and all of that stuff, and look me up. And you know what's so crazy? I never did that. I never talked to Patron up until the day of the 1st of October 15th. What's that? Midnight Madness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't speak to him prior to that or nothing. I didn't go up to him and say, I'm Akeem's boy or nothing. I stayed the course. I stayed in my in my lane while I was going to school. Got to school, was doing my work, and me and you didn't really connect until my birthday. Classic story, but that's a whole different story. That's but yeah. So it was the day October 15th, right? I don't like the word try, so I don't want to say try out, but I knew I was going to walk on, right? I participated in the practice to make the team. I went out for the team, and I eventually made the team.
I stayed for that trial. I think that was one of the only trials I stayed for ever.
Yeah, you probably right. Well, because you had already knew me at that time. By that time, we had already been cool for 11 days. We had already been cool for 11 days, so you knew you probably stayed. Even
before that, with all of the obstacles you went through, hurdles you had to jump, the doors you kept opening for yourself, you still was in Street and Smith. Art said to ask him about being ranked in Street and Smith. That is a major accomplishment for guys who don't know. Street and Smith was like the Source magazine of hip hop. Street and Smith was the Bible of basketball. Period. Back then, there was no internet. That was everything. They had high school, college, and pros all in one. And you got to see all the guys from all across the country. And if you didn't see their picture, you read their names. So that was awesome.
So yeah, I did. I was in I was honorable mention in Street and Smith that year. 88, 89, preseason. That's because it's the preseason rankings based off of my performance. I would imagine at BC All Stars camp that summer prior, and then I was in there, and then I found out that I was in the National Recruiters Cage Letter I don't know what it is, Van Height. I posted it the other day. I forgot what it is. Van Coleman.
Right.
National Recruiters Cage Letter. And I was one of the top senior prospects in the country.
Wow.
Top senior prospects in the country. No one on Xaverian was on that list. Right?
Salute my guy, stay still.
Not even my big man, Amadi Penn, who probably should have been on that list, wasn't even on that list. So I was ranked on that preseason top senior prospects in the country. The number 1 player was Shaq. The number 3 big man was Conrad. The number 1 point guard was Kenny Anderson. The number 2 point guard was Jimmy Jackson. The number 1 2 guard was Allen Houston. The number 3 2 guard was Carlton Hines. Eric Mobley. All those guys was on that list. I was in the best of the rest. However, I was mentioned amongst those. That was my class, 89. Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Anderson, Jimmy Jackson, Danny Hurley, Conrad McCray was the number 3 center behind Shaq, and someone else who probably shouldn't have been there ahead of Conrad. I don't think Conhan should have been number 3 either. He should have probably been number 2 or maybe number 1. Eric Mobley was on that list. My man Mike Huga was on that list from Stevenson. So yeah. So I made Street and Smith honorable mention, and I made the National Recruiters Cage letter top prospect, top senior prospects in the country.
My God, that's
Yeah,
dope. That's dope. It's FDU. I thought Shaq was 90s with me. Nah, Shaq 89, fam.
Nah, fam, that's, you know who that is? That's Tosh.
Huh?
That's Tosh.
Say word.
Tosh, what up, Stim at?
What's going on, Tasha? Word. Good to see you, baby girl. So, now we at FDU, right?
Yes.
You get your first taste of college basketball, right? We weren't big time like Duke, but we traveled the best hotels and the best restaurants.
Yeah.
We got nice little paychecks when we went on the road. How was that experience for you, brother?
Oh, that was tremendous. That was everything that I think I was working towards, right? I mean, so I didn't experience any of the payola, as a high school player or a preteen. I didn't experience any of those things. I got to travel, I got the amenities and all those things. However, I don't know, Luke gave us a little bread, but it wasn't it was like some car fare money, get some food money or something like that, or some kicks for bringing juju through to the organization type of thing. But oh my bad. All right. But the the experience, no, the experience at FDU of traveling and all of that was great. Like I experienced some of it at Xaverian because that our program was like a college prep program, even though I didn't get to excel at Xaverian the way I wanted to. So I got a little taste of it. However, getting to FDU and man, that was a great experience, Pooh. I mean, that's another level. That's another level. That's another level. I don't care if it was at UNLV. That's another level for us. You know what I mean? For me, definitely, that was just like another stepping stone towards the greatness of what we were doing. You know what I mean? So going on the first road trip, I remember the first road trip. I broke curfew, right? Pooh, I always wanted to get Pooh in trouble. Pooh used to stay the course. Pooh, you was a great vet. I'm not gonna lie, you was a great vet. You'd be like, nah, Stim, nah, don't do that. However, I just wanted to toe the line on everything. I just wanted to break curfew. I just wanted that. We was in, I think our first road trip was to Buffalo State, I think, or Niagara.
Yeah.
Somewhere up there. Somewhere upstate. It's cold as hell, up there. And I went out with Sauce and Elo, 2 upperclassmen.
Troublemakers. Rest in peace, Elo.
Yo, who already said, yo, do not go anywhere with them. They're not going to come back on time. And sure enough, we get back soon. We get back in the hotel. Coach Sherm, what's his name? Coach Sherm. It was the two coaches that had the same name.
They were Tiny and I forgot his name.
Remember, Tiny was gone when I got there.
Right. Was it Heinrich?
Heinrich.
Yes.
Coach Heinrich was right there, and then he didn't even say anything to me. He went right to Mel and Elo. And as soon as I went up in the elevator and got to my room, Coach Vitrone was right there, like, Lad, what are you doing? Like, you're a walk-on. What are you doing? Why are you hanging out with them? Yo, you got to be like your boy Pooh. Your boy Pooh is squared up or something like that. He said something like that.
Right.
He's like, you need to follow him. You don't want to be hanging out with them, getting yourself in trouble. But the experience was, aside from that, that's young people stuff, right? I was young. We were just getting into college, feeling myself a little bit, I'm on the team, whatever the case may be. I want to go out with the upperclassmen. I want to, you know what I mean? I was with the upperclassmen. I was with the upper echelon right here.
Right. You was at like red carpet row. Like, soon as you came to school, it was like, Yo, come on, yo, you with us. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. So, I wanted to hang out a little bit. So, and that was my first experience. I said, you know what? I know I got to get myself together. It didn't have an effect. I got the warning. That was the warning. That was the one warning I got, and that was my first and last warning that I would get. You know, and I don't think they told coach, but that experience was great. We went on some. We played against some good people out on the road though. Our road trips was we went to Jacksonville, we went to Indiana State, we played against Larry Bird's little brother, right? We went to Jacksonville.
D Brown.
We played against D Brown and Danny Torado. Right? We went to Niagara. We went on some nice trips. That experience was good. The meal money was great. The meal money was always great, even when we stayed home, because we got meal money for home games too.
Right.
And we got meal money for even when we played the St. Francis New Yorks and the Wagners, and the LIUs. We still got meal money for those trips. So it was good. It was good. The experience was great.
I know it was definitely a pleasure.
It was a pleasure playing with you. It was a pleasure meeting you at FDU and the relationship that we've carved out and created along our journey, and you being my big brother, my kid's uncle, and godfather, and us working together, doing crazy things, all kinds of things we done there, stuff
that's right
here on Basketball Heads, but along the journey, but all in the name of basketball though.
Listen, I just remember when it was your time to get in, how the crowd used to go crazy when you used to get the game. Because, we knew something special was going to happen because we saw you in practice. And we knew as soon as Stim get in the game, he going to make sure he's running the offense, but he's going to make sure there's enough time on the clock for him to score. And I'm telling you, people, he scored more points than guys who had scholarships. Stim scored in every game he played in. Big facts. Had a steal, had a rebound. He made sure he filled up the stat sheet every time he got in the game.
I went back and checked my stats, and it said like point something. I was like, I don't understand how it was point something, because I scored at least a couple of points in every game. So I don't know how it was point something. Unless some of those games that I didn't get in, they gave me minutes or something. I don't know.
Right. From the average out.
Right, but that came from, again, me being a young cat, maybe playing unlimited, and I know if I'm going to get in the game, I got to do something that's going to either get the team going or the crowd going. So whether it's putting on a move and throwing a pass that's going to make the crowd go ooh and ah, going to the hole immediately amongst the Giants. I wasn't shooting no jump shot, that, right? I was going to the hole. So it was that's where that came from, and I had to prove myself once I got in the game. I had to run a play, obviously, but I had to prove to coach that I belonged in the game. For whatever little bit of time it was, I had to prove to coach that I belonged in the game. I did what I had to do in practice. We had, monumental practices. However, that wasn't resonating all the time to the game. So I had to do, what I had to do once I got in the game.
Yo, Tasha said crazy because he mad short. Yo, also, Julie said, Aunt Larry and Pooh turned me out the years after you.
Oh, man.
We had so much fun, brother. We had so much fun. All the guys, especially all your guys coming up. All your guys who came up, either got with a girl, stayed for a couple of weeks, stayed for a couple of years, Julie.
I'm still looking for you know what I mean? I'm still looking for his degree. I think he's like a couple of credits short.
What? Oh man.
But yeah, those were definitely great times. Those are definitely great times. And as well as, playing ball for FDU. That was dope for me.
That's dope. So, what is your perception of New York City basketball today?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't really followed it that much.
Okay.
As of late, I haven't been following it. I check to see, who's going to the championship and stuff, and see what schools. I'll follow it based on the coaches that's coaching now that I'm familiar with from playing back in the days or have played. The one thing I can say about New York City basketball that I'm proud of, I don't know the players per se, is that the majority of the coaches are New York City basketball legends and part of the New York City basketball legacy. And I'm happy to say that. I'm proud of that. Whatever the condition or the state of New York City basketball is now, I have hope that it's going to get better because we got guys like you and the Rob Phelps and our boy Art that's official and and Coach Phil and Pat, both Pat Burke and Pat Alphonse, still in the game, mentoring and coaching, guys, and they can pass on that legacy and that information, that help these guys propel to the next level and maybe not take it for granted. And then this forum that we have here give guys, a history lesson or, make cats realize that, New York City basketball was well revered at some point. And it still is, I believe, but it was well revered and that they need to understand that and be prideful of it. And, and I don't know with all this, I mean, cats was going to like prep schools back then when, when we was balling. However, it was only not because they were going to be on a powerhouse. They were going because they had to get their grades together. They were staying here and playing. Whether they transferred from Catholic school to public school, back to Catholic school, they were staying home. They only really went to prep school until, and when they had to maybe, if they wanted to prevent sitting out a year or they had to actually get their grades together, similar to you. You wouldn't have went to MCI had you not, you would have stayed right here. You didn't go to MCI to say,
I would have definitely been a legend in New York City if that senior year would have worked out the way it did. But hey,
exactly.
things still worked out, and I still went to college and played. So
that's right. So I think I have full confidence in the state of New York City basketball moving forward because of all the New York City basketball heads, New York City basketball pioneers that's still involved in the game that that can help kind of mold the players and stuff towards that direction. And I just hope that they don't have to keep going out to prep schools and all that to make their name, that they can do it right here. We got enough schools. I mean, it's 7 schools in one school sometimes out here nowadays. So we have enough schools, and we just need to build up those programs and build up the kids within the program.
that's dope, man. I want to give a special shout out to my guy, Pat Alphonse. He mentioned the other day, yo, Stim, you should be on the show. Yo, right. Pat, trust me, I watch everything. Even though I'm paying attention, I'm conducting an interview, I watch everything. And I always pay attention to your suggestions, brother. Trust me. In one way or another.
Definitely. But definitely, man. Salute Pat, salute you, Pooh, for this forum. And once we get into the studio, the interaction gonna be crazier anyway. So
right,
and we get more people. Obviously you getting everybody already now. So we just gonna keep it going, and this is dope though. This is dope. This is so dope. I mean, we didn't touch on a lot of stuff. I know my phone gonna be ringing and everything about you didn't say this, you didn't mention that, and I feel like we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it
for sure.
Forum, but yeah. And then we gotta get. I mean, I know. Trey. I know Tracy kind of like soft interviewed you. However, we gotta get where you on the other side of the table as well.
One day, man. One day. I like being on this side right now.
I know.
Yeah. So, what do you do now with the park department? Because you're doing some amazing things right now, and you've been doing for years.
Yeah. So I'm the deputy director of special events at Prospect Park. So I work for the Parks Department. However, my property is Prospect Park and Parade Ground. So all the fields and Parade Ground, as well as all the property at Prospect Park. I'm the deputy director of special events, and what that is, I manage and oversee all the special events and athletic fields and all the permits basically that come through the park for those two properties come through my office, come through my desk. I have to sit down and plan and coordinate logistics and things for that. So I've been doing that for the last 13 years. And it's crazy because, you know, Parade Ground, Hayden Park, you know what I'm saying, is my park that I grew up
That's your home. That's right. That's right.
You know, that's crazy. And I always tell the story about Prospect Park, even though that's right there in my backyard. We wouldn't go to Prospect Park for a barbecue or cookout. We would go all the way to Staten Island. However, now it's at a place where, you know, the great work that they've done over the years and formed, you know, the Prospect Park Alliance, it's an urban oasis. It's rivaling Century Park right now. Before, you know, we wouldn't even go in that park, you know, except to probably I would run in the morning or ride my bike through it. However, we wouldn't go there and you know, do anything. But now it's at a great space. So yeah, that's what I do now. Obviously right now everything is on shutdown for events and permits because of the COVID. However, you know, soon they'll be opening up everything, and I guess we'll be figuring out how it'll be the new norm with business as far as events as well as far as athletics.
Yeah, man, that's dope, man. I'm super proud of you, man. I just know wherever we go, you know, people see me, they see you, and when I get around my ball players, because I sometimes forget that we got this basketball history, and then we get around our peoples, they be like, yo, man, hey, yo, man. Be like, oh shit, you know him? You know him? And it's been going on for years, right?
Right.
So, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I knew some of the stories, but a majority of them I didn't know.
Right.
Want to say, man, I'm proud of you, man. I love you, man. Know you're a good friend. You're a great dad. You're great at everything that you've done, even being part of the nation and doing that. And we'll talk about that another time, man. But
no doubt.
yeah, definitely, man. Basketball is tournament. Definitely got to do that. We definitely do that. At least a classic, a one-day thing, right? So once you build this forum up, we'll be able to do that and get some of the high schools to come together and play. And then Art could bring the referees, and we could bring and do this together. You know, we could do females and we could do guys, right? And have a one-day tournament, and then we can turn it into something bigger.
Exactly. But I want to say, while everything is quiet, bro, you know I love you too. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you. And you talk about me being a great dad. I watched you, cool, right? I watched you. And I got a lot of inspiration from you doing your thing. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, right? And I just want to tell you that, yo, salute you, and I love you, bro, and I appreciate you. But before we go, right, your nephew said he needed cats to see the hardware, right? So
yes, we need to see the hardware.
The hardware. I guess that's Mar Dukes right there. That's me and Mar Dukes, younger me. But hold on, let me see how I do this. I think I can flip it around or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Right. Some of those years. This one say what 85. Oh man, yeah. So oh man. That's just this level over here.
And those the one that he got kept, you know, that's still standing up.
Yeah,
right? And still looks immaculate.
The head is off. That's like from I think that's from Little Lads. The head is off. You know what I mean? Cats was coming for my head that tournament. So but you know, yeah, but that's a little bit of the arsenal.
That's real, man. Salute, my brother.
Yeah, but yo, Paul, I appreciate you having me on.
No doubt.
Keep up the great work. And as soon as we get out of this, you know what I mean, we get in the studio, then we're going to make it happen for real.
For sure. Yo, just want to let y'all know, all the people that we drew, my guy Jamal, Pablo, he drew the background. We got the frames. We're about to send those out. Those basketball head t-shirts will be on sale soon. We need you guys' support. The more support you guys give to us, the more we're able to do for you guys. Ah, look at that. How do you still have that, man? I have nothing after you. I have nothing that says
Hey, yo,
MCI.
Art.
Nothing
Hey,
that
yo,
says
Art.
Lincoln.
Hey, yo, Art, good looking out, baby. I got the joint too, Art. Hey, yo, Art.
Wow, look at that, Art. That's crazy.
Hold on, one more. I think it might have been the first round ball. It might have been the first round ball.
Wow. Hold it up, Stim. That's crazy.
That might have been the first round ball.
Wow. That's real. Listen, my guys are real basketball heads. This is why we own the company, fam. Peace.
Yes.
Basketball head. Love you, Stim.
Love to everybody that came on and checked us out. I appreciate y'all, man.
That's right.
Cool. I'll hit you in a minute.
Yeah, do that, man.
All right.
All right.